Most people don't live in their lives. They live in their minds, always rehearsing tomorrow, always revisiting yesterday, always rushing through the one place where life is actually happening now. We move through existence like travelers running through a cathedral without ever lifting our eyes to see the ceiling. We treat the present as a hallway to somewhere else, a transition, a preparation, a waiting room for a future that never quite arrives the way we imagine it. We think life is happening later. But later never comes, only a continuous stream of now, ignored in pursuit of the next. The modern world trains us to be absent, to chase, to anticipate, to catalog possibilities and threats as if vigilance were vitality. Yet a mind trapped between what has already died and what has not yet been born can never touch the full texture of reality. Quantum physics reveals what ancient mystics already knew. The present moment is the only place reality collapses into form. The past is stored as electrical patterns, the future lives as probability waves. Existence materializes only in the instant you experience it. Reality is not a timeline, it's a pulse. A flickering field of possibilities solidifying one frame at a time. And in this flicker, this trembling between potential and manifestation, your consciousness stands as the witness and the participant. Presence isn't poetic, it's structural. It is not a soft spiritual aspiration, it is the mechanics of existence. You suffer not because life is overwhelming, but because you have been conditioned to live outside of yourself. Stress is not intensity, it is dislocation. Anxiety is a projection into unreality. Regret is loyalty to ghosts. The nervous system cannot anchor in time that does not exist. It panics, not because you are weak, but because it is searching for a present you're not inhabiting. A mind scattered through timelines is a mind at war. A mind rooted in the now becomes a force of nature. Presence is not escape, it is mastery. It is not stillness, it is clarity before motion. It is not passivity, it is precision of intention. To be present is to retrieve your attention from exile, because attention is not just focus, it is creation. Where your awareness rests, reality hardens. Where your consciousness lands, life intensifies. Where you look, the universe responds. Distraction isn't harmless, it's self-abandonment. You cannot build a powerful life while abandoning the moment where power exists. Every breath asks you, are you here? Or are you imagining being alive somewhere else? Presence is not meditation, it is participation. It is the skill of inhabiting the moment fully enough to sense the intelligence flowing through it. When you're here, truly here, decisions arise with less friction. Intuition sharpens, time expands, and the world stops feeling hostile. Not because it changed, but because you finally arrived in it. To be present is to reclaim authorship. To stop rehearsing life and start inhabiting it. To feel existence instead of thinking it. Presence is not a luxury. It is the foundation of all power. There is no transformation without it, no creativity, no peace, no meaning. Only noise pretending to be living. And in the quiet space of awareness, something remarkable reveals itself. Life was never withholding depth. You were withholding attention. Right now, in this exact second, you are standing inside the only doorway that ever leads anywhere real. And the second you step through it, the world doesn't become easier. It becomes vivid. For the first time, you see. Not the idea of life, but life itself. In the quantum world, observation is not passive. It is participatory. A particle behaves like a wave of infinite potential until it is observed. Only then does it solidify into one place, one state, one outcome. Reality waits for attention. Presence is not mindfulness rhetoric. It is a fundamental law woven into the architecture of existence. Yet we move through our lives as if we are spectators, not participants, as if life happens independently of our awareness, as if we are passengers inside our own minds. But the truth is stark and liberating. The present moment does not just contain your life. It responds to your presence. In still moments, when noise is stripped away, when thought slows down, and perception sharpens. You can sense a subtle hum behind everything, a pulsing intelligence, a field that listens. Not mystical in the sentimental sense, but precise, mathematical, elegant. Space is not empty. It is saturated with potential. Time is not flowing. It is unfolding frame by frame, awaiting your arrival. Consciousness is not happening inside you. You are happening inside consciousness. This is why nothing feels as powerful, intoxicating, or stabilizing as full presence. Because when you arrive here, you align with the fundamental rhythm of reality. You become synchronized with the only place the universe exists, now. Presence is not quiet. It is vibrational coherence. It is the frequency where intuition awakens, creativity emerges, clarity cuts through mental fog like a blade. Great athletes feel it in flow. Musicians touch it mid-performance. Children inhabit it effortlessly before society teaches them how to leave themselves. Adulthood, for many, becomes a slow training in absence. We learn to split our attention, fragment our awareness, outsource our presence to screens, opinions, predictions, fears. And so the nervous system lives in emergency mode, scanning for threats not in the world, but in imagination. We call this stress. The body calls it dislocation in time. But when you return, even for a breath, everything shifts. Muscles release centuries of inherited tension. Breathing deepens as if air suddenly remembered how to nourish you. The mind stops pacing like a trapped animal and becomes a still lake, reflecting, sensing, absorbing. You begin to notice textures you once rushed past, the weight of your body, the weightlessness of awareness, the subtle intelligence behind sensation. In presence, life gains gravity, not heaviness, density, meaning, thickness, aliveness. Time expands. Seconds stretch. What once felt ordinary becomes almost sacred, not because the world changed, but because you finally entered it. And then the door opens to the most misunderstood truth. Presence is not the absence of thought, it is the mastery of where attention lives. When you choose where your awareness rests, you are no longer controlled by impulse, memory, conditioning, or fear. You do not collapse possibilities prematurely. You do not live on autopilot. You become deliberate. You become aware of the subtle moment before a reaction, the quantum pause where identity is chosen, not inherited. Every act becomes conscious. Every word becomes intentional. Every breath becomes a declaration. I am here. And here is powerful in a way the future will never be and the past will never return to be. Because presence is the location of creation. It is the origin point of reality. It is where the universe becomes personal. The greatest illusion in human life is that fulfillment will arrive later, that peace, clarity, meaning, purpose, joy, and power are destinations waiting at the end of effort. A future achievement, a future version of you. A future moment where everything finally aligns and grants permission to feel alive. But nothing exists later. Later is imagination wearing the mask of time. Tomorrow is a hypothesis the universe has not committed to yet. Only one frame is ever real, the one you are breathing in now. This instant is not a stepping stone, it is the cathedral, the throne room, the epicenter of every universe you could ever inhabit. And yet, most people never arrive here. They live in projections, in simulations, in timelines that never crystallize. They chase the horizon, unaware they are sprinting inside a mirage. Presence is not a relaxation technique. It is a return to rightful position. A reclamation of consciousness from exile. A refusal to abandon your life in favor of mental rehearsals. To truly be here is not small. It is not passive. It is not idle. To be here is to confront reality without the armor of distractions. To feel existence without filters. To meet yourself without the noise of who you think you should be. Presence strips away illusion. Not gently, precisely, not romantically, honestly. The ego resists this territory because it cannot survive full perception. Ego lives in past identity and future fear. Presence dissolves both. And what remains is not emptiness, but awareness untouched. A consciousness unburdened by narrative, fully grounded in sensation, perception, experience. Not a smaller self, a truer one. When you are here, the mind becomes an instrument, not a tyrant. Thought serves awareness, not the other way around. You don't quiet the mind. You sit so deeply in reality that the mind aligns with truth by necessity. There is a state beyond thinking but far above passivity, pure awareness directed by choice. This is the doorway to quantum presence, the place where time slows, perception sharpens, space feels thicker with meaning, breath becomes a doorway to intelligence. Life stops being something happening to you and becomes something happening through you. Nothing mystical, yet more mystical than anything superstition ever offered. In this state, you notice subtle things, the intelligence in stillness, the precision of each sensation, the quiet hum behind experience, almost like the universe breathing with you. You don't feel separate from the world. You feel embedded, woven into it, participating in its unfolding instead of merely observing it. You realize presence is not isolation, it is union with reality. And then comes the awakening no book can give you, no teacher can force, no philosophy can fabricate. There is no life outside this moment. Not because time doesn't exist, but because consciousness does not live anywhere else. You stop trying to escape into imagined futures and begin sculpting the only dimension where change is real. You stop trying to fix the past and begin embodying the version of yourself who transcends it. Presence becomes power. Presence becomes intelligence. Presence becomes identity. You begin to notice that the more deeply you enter this moment, the more effortlessly life responds. Opportunities align, people soften, creativity emerges. Chaos organizes itself. The world stops resisting you because you stopped resisting existence. You do not dominate reality, you synchronize with it. You do not force life, you participate in its precision. This is not surrender, it is sovereignty, not passivity. Alignment, not stillness, mastery. The quantum field does not reward effort, it responds to state. And presence is the highest state a human can occupy. It is the frequency of truth, the birthplace of clarity, the home of power. Here, in this breath, you are complete, not finished. Not perfect, complete, because presence is not the end of the journey. It is the place where every journey begins. And from this point forward, the question is no longer, how do I escape my thoughts? But how deeply can I enter this moment and let reality reveal itself? Not as a theory, not as a philosophy, but as experience, as sensation, as awareness in its purest, most sovereign form. In the quantum language of existence, presence is not something you practice. Presence is what you remember. You were always here. You had just forgotten how to feel it. Now, breathe and arrive again. The universe is not waiting to give you your life. It is waiting for you to show up to the one you already have.